Hi everyone, it's Sue with Ully Cat's Designs and Ully Cat's World blog. And I'm here today with a birthday card, and I'm going to be using some Karen Burniston pop-up dies. I'm going to be making a cake pop-up, and I'll be using the rectangles and labels crosshatch to get all of my backgrounds. I'm going to be using the largest circle in the circles crosshatch. I'm using the happy, just the letters from the Happy Birthday add-ons, and then I'll also be using this greeting label die. So I'm starting with an A7 purchase card base, so that's 5 by 7, and I'm going to be using some Anna Griffin paisley papers. And the interesting thing is I'm actually using, that's kind of the main design, but I'm using the back side of them. So I've taken the largest of those rectangle label dies, cut out, and then I've used the fourth smallest rectangle to cut out the inside. And that inside, you'll see later on what I've used that for. So we'll glue these in. Now normally I would have glued these panels into the center of these frames, but because I want this to look more like maybe a tablecloth, here is the largest circle, and it's just cut in half because we want to leave our center fold. I want to use this circle as the cake platter. Now I've made the birthday cake before and used a circle as its platter, and I've done it sometimes with metallic mirror card. And one of the problems with using mirror card for the tray, well, it looks cool, it's hard to adhere the cake to it because it's such a slippery surface that you have to use double-sided tape to make it work. Now one of the things that I like to do at this point is just kind of color in so it doesn't look like it's a half circle. Now the cake has 6 different parts: the first layer, the second layer, and the top layer. The bottom panel has this middle part. And what you'll notice is that that flap doesn't fold at the same point that these two do. So you want to glue this tab first before you glue the center together. So here's the bottom piece. I'm going to install this first. I want to put glue on this tab and this tab. I'm also going to put glue on the opposite sides tab. I want to get this centered. And we'll let that dry a little bit. We can insert the top 2 layers, put those 2 together, and that's just a matter of clicking these tabs down in. And we can try collapsing that. And then to install those, just kind of go until they click. And there we go. We have our 3-tiered cake. As I said, I took the happy, and there's actually a die that just cuts out on here. It's the yellow letters. I used that die to cut out these. Now these are actually gold mirror card, but this is the back side. And I like to line the letters up on my grid map and then stick a piece of tape over them so that I can get the spacing and the line. And all I have to do, put it down and peel it off. And there we have our happy birthday. This is a memorabilia card from the Anna Griffin embellishments that came with the paisley papers and embellishments set that I have. So now we can work on decorating the cake. And I've taken, this kind of looks like a peony. There's what the leaves look like. I cut it off and I've glued it together, but I've left a little bit of an opening between them so that I could glue it on a tab that sticks up. And then from this tulip embellishment, I cut off just the tiny flowers. And I'm thinking those could be interesting to kind of tool up the side. So I'm letting the cake dry, but I want to work on the front and back panels. And again, I've just used the different dies in the rectangle label set to create my frames. And the pieces that I've cut out, I've used to make my back piece. So as you can see, this is the back side. I've just cut one of those panels in half and put it on the top and bottom, and then I used the largest crosshatch die to cut it out. And that's a quick and simple way to use up your scraps and still create an interesting back. And I've also taken a scrap and put it on my envelope back. So we'll glue. Here's my basic layout of some of my extra pieces. Kind of thinking maybe just that much. So here's the finished card. This elaborate sort of label frame comes from the Rectangles and Labels set. I've put little gold gems at the corners. I've used some of the cutoffs of the flowers, and then I've used flowers to decorate the cake. And here's what the full pieces of Emerphilia flowers looks like. So you can see I've cut off the red and the blue flowers to decorate the cake. The extra green leaves come from the top peony piece. And then the extra leaves and the tulip I've also used to decorate the back, as well as the front. There's our happy birthday cake with flowers. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some inspiration from it. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.